Good everybody. Does everybody want gifts?
Yay!
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, 5 to 7 minutes.
Thank you.
Of course, everybody loves gifts. Everybody loves to receive. I'm here representing, I would say, the human race. We are all on this planet together. We are all here because of somebody else. Because of everybody who's come before us. So wouldn't it make sense that we have a stake in the game? Make sure this is on the right screen. There we go. So the gifts I have for you, you get by giving to others. Those of you who know me know I'm an avid volunteer. Obviously, as an officer in a nonprofit organization, I volunteer. I don't get paid for any of this. I'm also a longtime scout leader. I've volunteered for the United Way. I've volunteered at various activities here at work that we've done for other nonprofits. I know a lot of you have volunteered before. Some of you volunteer on a regular basis. And I think some of you know some of the gifts that you receive from volunteering. So what I'm here to tell you is what gifts you can receive and why. The first is health. Everybody wants to be healthy, right? Everybody wants to feel good about themselves. The Mayo Clinic has reports about obesity, blood pressure, diabetes, being overweight, specifically around the waist, cholesterol, cardiovascular disease, cancer. All these things come from lack of activity. So what can you do to be active? You can volunteer. Volunteers get a lot of activity. Whether you're volunteering as a soccer coach, Jim is a scout leader, right? There's all sorts of activity we do. I was chatting with a guy from my team this morning. He's actually going to be helping with a swim team. I think that's fantastic. Because you know he's not just going to stand outside the pool, especially this time of year, in the water, right? You're going to be in there swimming. Well, Johns Hopkins University did a study, and it's really geared maybe towards older adults, and we're all getting there, right? We're all going to be there eventually. That people 59 and older double the amount of calories they burned by volunteering. They volunteered in classrooms, and if you've ever been in a school, an elementary school especially, you know you're going to be running around after kids. And from my experience too, you're going to be running around doing all the stuff the teacher wants you to do. Our one son's teacher in particular always had visions. And boy, we had a lot of work to do when it came to implementing those visions. So one of the gifts I've given you is health. How about happiness? Think about some time where you needed help. Maybe your car broke down. Maybe you were running late on a project. You needed somebody to help you complete that project. Maybe you were short on cash. Whatever it happens to be. Or maybe somebody came to you for help and they said, look, I really need you to do this for me. You know, my job is on the line. I got to get my kid to school, but I've got a conflict. Whatever it happens to be. Think about the gratitude they gave you or the gratitude you had for somebody else from doing that. Happiness, that gratitude, that feeling of appreciation really goes a long way to making everybody feel better. And wouldn't we all want to be happy, right? I would think so. The next gift I have for you is acumen. Good word of the day in a sense. Acumen means brain power. It's your ability to think. It's your cognitive abilities. There's always studies, there's always stories in the paper about Alzheimer's and other dementia in the elderly and things like that. We all need to think about that. That's something, regardless of our age, we need to be thinking long term about. Another report from Johns Hopkins talking about brain power, especially as you get older, is keeping your mind going, keeping yourself thinking, and that people who volunteer, they are not just thinking about things when they're volunteering. They've got to come up with new ideas, especially if you're working with kids. You always have to have new ideas. But even if you're working with other adults, you're always trying to find a better way to do things, or just simply a different way to do things to keep people invigorated, keep them entertained. Well, that carries on into your personal life. They're more likely to be doing brain games and puzzles, things like Sudoku or crosswords and things like that. And while you can get the health aspect of volunteering by getting out, running around, swimming, playing soccer, going on hikes, well, the brain exercise part of it carries over into their personal lives as well and keeps them going. So we've given health, we've given happiness, we've given acumen, which all leads up to longevity. People who volunteer tend to live longer. I have known people who have retired. And I'm sure
no names.
No names. And I'm sure we all have. And present company excluded here. We've all known people or heard of people that when they retire, in a relatively short amount of time, they die. I know, scary thought, right? Something to think about, something to keep on your mind. Now, obviously, I'm talking about people who retire in their 60s or 70 years old, something like that. Just like when if they have a spouse pass away, especially when a spouse dies, the other spouse doesn't necessarily live as long. Why? They've lost something in their lives. And now longevity, too, doesn't simply just mean that you're going to live longer. I think it also means that state of mind. I've heard stories of a grandmother who, her grandkids played video games. So what did she do? She went out and bought an Xbox.
Whoa.
And she beat their butts at every game that they like to play because she went and bought those games and learned how to do it.
Then they turned 3.
These were the teenagers. So how to redeem your gifts? Ask yourself 3 questions. And this person I talked to from my team actually told me that they had asked themselves these very questions. What do you like to do? Why would you ask yourself, what do you like to do? Because if you're going to volunteer, you should enjoy it. It should be something you enjoy doing, whether it's science or swimming or anything. What are you good at? Well, hopefully that goes along lines with what do you enjoy, but at the very least, if you're wanting to get these gifts, it's all about return on investment, right? If you're good at it, it should be easy for you, and it should be something that you can bestow upon other people fairly easily. And what would you like to learn? Take this as a learning opportunity. Find this as an opportunity for growth. So what can you do? Try volunteermatch.org. They have all sorts of volunteer opportunities. Talk to your friends, your coworkers, your peers. They're already probably involved in things. And if you're ready to receive these gifts, go have some fun. Thank you very much.
All right.